WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Several area schools are feeling the effects of this year's flu season.
That's right. Tupelo Christian Preparatory School canceled classes today. The campus was empty as those students stayed home. Educators are hoping the time away from that the children will get a chance to get over the flu and will keep them from getting others sick. Now, South Tippah and North Tippah school districts, along with Kemper County, were also closed today because of a high number of students that were sick. The Pediatric Emergency Department at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson has diagnosed more than 120 children every day over the past week.
Across the state line, the Lamar County School District is feeling the full impact as well. This week alone, more than 300 students were absent due to the illness.
Well, classes were canceled there today, allowing teachers to disinfect all the school buildings. Our Quentin Smith stopped by one of the schools with his mask on. He joins us live in the studio. Quentin.
Well, Andrea, for most school districts, once 15% of the student population is out due to an illness, they then start looking at options such as canceling classes. Well, in the Lamar County School District, they were just under that mark with 13% of the students being absent this week. That now has district leaders taking precautionary measures to prevent any and all viruses from continuing to spread. When the doors opened Friday morning, this was the site at Vernon Elementary School. Chairs were on top of desks, hallways were empty, and no students were in sight.
We just thought that it'd be best to take this day and let our students out and get a 3-day weekend and try to get some of this sickness out of our schools and get some cleaning done.
From wiping down walls to mopping floors to even sanitizing the desk, teachers spent majority of their morning giving the school a deep cleaning.
They've come in and they're going through the building, sanitizing it real good, cleaning out the restrooms, classrooms, and you know, wiping down desks and lockers and just really sterilizing the building real good.
This past week, the Lamar County School District saw a little more than 13% of its students miss school. That rate was over 15% in some schools in the district. And in all, a total of 311 students were out sick this week.
We love our kids. We want them to be here. They can't learn if they're not at school. And it's hard to teach when, 20% of your students aren't here.
We're not sure all of them flu symptoms, and we're not sure if all of them had the flu. But, we do know that the flu is going around, and we're just trying to take measures to make sure that we're keeping our kids as healthy and safe as we can.
Lamar County School Superintendent Vance Herron has worked in the school district for more than 2 decades. However, he says he's never seen sickness sweep through the schools quite like this. So, to help keep the sick bug in check, Herron has a little advice for parents of sick children.
If our students are sick and running fever, we don't need parents sending them to school. They need to be 24 hours free of fever before they're brought back to school. Also, if the doctor tells you to stay out 5 days, stay out those 5 days. Even if you get to feeling better, take those 5 days.
Now, classes will resume again on Monday. But again, if students haven't gotten over their illness, district leaders are recommending them stay at home until they fully recovered. Joey?
It seems to be peak season for the flu. This map from the Centers for Disease Control shows widespread flu activity in Mississippi and Alabama. The CDC reports 13 to 15 million people in the U.S. have been diagnosed this flu season. About half of those patients went to a doctor and more than 155,000 were hospitalized. The flu is especially dangerous for infants and the elderly and those with pre-existing condition. Dr. William Davis in Vernon tells us many of his patients were diagnosed with influenza A. Now, there is a difference between a cold and the flu symptoms. The Mississippi State Department of Health says people with the flu often have a high fever for days, along with head and body aches. Patients also have to deal with extreme exhaustion and severe coughing. See your doctor for treatment. Time now to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He has a first look at our forecast.
Joey, clouds on the increase today. You can see it with our Alpha Insurance time lapse from downtown Tupelo. If you look closely, We are looking at a little bit of precip trying to fall from those clouds. It really looks exciting from a radar perspective. Some rain, sleet, and snow out there, but the air where we live down here at the ground, very, very dry, all the way through the atmosphere, pretty dry. So none of that is reaching the ground here in Mississippi, it looks like at this point. Upper 30s to around 40 right now. Mainly cloudy this evening. Can't rule out a little bit of light sleet, maybe a light wintry mix with some of that precip, but generally speaking, more clouds than anything else. I'll be back with your weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
One of the men wanted in an aggravated assault case in Wcbi County is now in jail. Lieutenant John Davis says 46-year-old Jonathan Fleming was taken into custody this afternoon. Investigators say he was found at a home in Choctaw County. Meanwhile, the search is still on for 46-year-old Chad Tharp. The two men are accused of an aggravated assault incident along J.Y. Turner Road early Thursday morning. Anyone with information is asked to call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers.
Meanwhile, a man wanted for armed robbery in Oktibbeha County remains on the run while another suspect goes to court. 26-year-old Courtney Clay is charged with burglary and armed robbery. Her bond was set at $200,000 this morning. Meanwhile, 25-year-old Joshua Norman is still on the run. He is considered armed and dangerous. The alleged robbery happened on County Lake Road. If you know where Norman is, call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers.
3 men plead guilty in connection with a 2011 Columbus murder case. Omar Beard will spend 20 years in prison for manslaughter. Cortez Williams pled to depraved heart murder. He was ordered to stay 20 years behind bars in protective custody. Court documents say threats have been made against Williams. Both men received credit for time served. Meanwhile, Michael Ross was also pleading guilty to manslaughter. He was sentenced to time served in the Lowndes County Jail, which was 5 years. A Lowndes County jury found Derek Bankhead was guilty of capital murder last August. All 4 of the men killed Bankhead's cousin, Eddie Bankhead. He was shot and killed during an armed robbery in July 2011 at his College Street home.
An Itawamba County man is in jail accused in the kidnapping and rape of a woman. Robert Christopher Ellis was arrested this afternoon after a sheriff's deputy spotted his silver PT Cruiser parked on a gravel road. Ellis was wanted in connection with an alleged kidnapping and sexual assault over the weekend. Itawamba County Sheriff Chris Dickinson says Ellis may have held his victim captive for a couple of days before she was able to escape. Now, there is security video from a convenience store showing the moment the victim escaped. You're looking at it right here. The sheriff says Ellis had another woman in the car when he was arrested today.
I'm scared of what might have happened to her because it was setting up for another attack. It didn't happen, but according to her, that's what she thought was coming.
The victim from the weekend attack is recovering in the hospital. Ellis faces several charges, including kidnapping and sexual assault.
Getting around Starkville just got a little greener.
We take a look at a new commuter option when we come back.
You're watching WCBI News at 6 with Andrea Self and Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. There's a new way to get around town in Starkville.
WCBI Stephanie Poole tells us how some folks are going green.
Transportation with a twist. Lime Scooter is bringing more foot traffic to downtown Starkville.
They just showed up. They've got a test group of about 25 of them, and they have been a huge hit. We've seen lots and lots of them on the streets.
The Lime bikes are already a hit. Now, operations manager John Ustry says he's eager to see how people will react to the scooters.
It's kind of a test pilot to supplement our e-bikes. We are a multimodal company, and so we do, kind of provide different ways of transportation, and scooters are, in Starkville specifically, our next chapter here.
With the quick scan and dollar ready, accessing a motorized scooter is simple enough. Mayor Lynch Burrell says they are useful and not an impediment to the already active smart transportation system.
I think they give a level of energy that just makes it fun. So from that perspective, from a serious transportation, it certainly offers an alternative way to get around, and that's a wonderful thing.
Whether it's older people or younger people, everybody seems to be excited about it.
Reporting in Starkville, Stephanie Poole, WCBI News.
Right now, you can find those lime green scooters in the downtown area. The decision to put scooters on the Mississippi State campus is still up in the air.
Some of you may be heading down to the coast this weekend. We're looking at some 50s and 60s here Saturday and Sunday, a little bit warmer as we get into Monday. Now for us, temperatures will be moderating this weekend. We'll talk about that after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
All right, for your Saturday, we may see a light early morning mix. Don't freak out. Probably not a big deal for us here tonight. We'll talk about that coming up. For your Sunday, moderating back into the 50s, maybe upper 50s. The best chance for some showers Sunday across the northern half of the area. And we will continue warming into the 60s early next week. Our rain chances go up. But today, I was out at New Hope Elementary, the pre-K students right here. Look at all these great faces. We had a great time talking about high and low pressure, clouds, and all stuff related to weather, how we measure temperature. Thanks for having me out today. We were supposed to do this visit last Tuesday, and then we had the phantom snowstorm that just didn't produce anything. So we went out there today, but speaking of snow, we actually have a little bit of what looks like snow on the radar here, and maybe a little bit of a mix, but that is staying in the clouds, it would appear at this time. Let me show you our Alpha Insurance time lapse from Louisville, Mississippi today. Initially some sunshine. Clouds have been building all afternoon long. But the air below those clouds, pretty dry, so that dry air is eating away at a lot of this precip coming our way, and this system looks pretty aggressive, but you have to go all the way down here into parts of Texas to really see a lot of that actually reach the ground. So at this point, we suspect the dry air will win out over the precipitation. Now, we can't rule out a little bit of light rain, maybe a sleet pellet or two, or maybe a little light wintry mix as far as sleet and freezing rain later tonight. But the dry air, that's the real deal. That's already in place, and that's just going to eat away at whatever comes our way tonight. It's doing it right now, and we suspect it will continue doing that during the night. However, just to hedge the bet, there's still that opportunity for that light mix later tonight. By mid-morning tomorrow, that's done. We're looking at some residual cloud cover. Lows tonight down into the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. Mostly cloudy, that's the big story, mainly cloudy, but can't rule out that light wintry mix in some spots. But your Saturday, we should get back into the mid to upper 40s in many spots. If those clouds are a little bit thicker than we expect, it could be a little bit cooler. Definitely warmer 50s off to our south tomorrow. As we get into your Sunday, more clouds, but the best rain chances to our north there Sunday or across the northern third. We'll have a better opportunity for some rain Monday and Tuesday with that system right there. Perhaps some heavier rain and maybe some strong storms too as we warm up into the 60s. We'll be following that as we go throughout the course of the weekend.
Leaving the past in the rearview mirror is the key for the Bulldogs as they get ready for one of the nation's best teams. More from the Dogs coming up next in sports.
WCBI First Alert Weather School is brought to you by Emerson Animal Hospital in West Point. WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
On to Kentucky. That's the mindset needed for Mississippi State with a big opportunity to bounce back after the gut-wrenching loss to LSU. For a positive in Starkville, MSU has lost 3 straight midweek games but has won each Saturday bounce-back game, something Ben Howland hopes is the case tomorrow against the 5th-ranked team in the country.
They're the hottest team in the country, maybe. I mean, they've won 9 in a row. They're and good teams on, foreign courts, much less their own. I mean, they're playing great. they're really good. You know, John's teams get better throughout the year because typically they start with the young guys, and so as that team matures and you know see where they are now from where they started, it's amazing.
During its 9-game win streak, Kentucky is outscoring teams on average by 16 points, including wins against Mississippi State, Auburn, Kansas, and South Carolina. Tip-off inside the hump is set for noon. You can catch the game right here on WCBI. It's been almost a week since Hail State Hoops has been in action, a week off to prepare for Sunday's matchup against Tennessee. A historically bad streak for the Lady Vols to start the new year, losing 6 straight, including one against former #1 Notre Dame. But 4 of those losses were by less than 5 points. Having won 3 straight games, Vic Schaefer says don't look at the record when talking the Lady Vols.
My message to our kids today is, you know, number one, you better be ready. You better be having it in 5th gear from the jump, not 1st or 2nd, and then trying to get it to 3rd or 4th, because they will flat smack you in the mouth and make you like it. And transition and rebound, and those are all toughness things. And as y'all know, we're not the toughest team in the country right now, so we have issues of our own with toughness.
Caledonia's Tanner Hawley joins the long list of talented athletes around the area to continue their football careers. The Fed senior signing with Belhaven University. Hawley says he sees similarities in the Blazers football program and Caledonia.
I really like the coaching staff down there, and I feel like their program's kind of like Caledonia's is coming up, and it's going to be pretty special in the next couple of years, and I want to be a part of that.
He's been a blessing to our football program this first year for my staff and myself to get to know him and his family. I couldn't be more happy for a kid just to have an opportunity to extend his career playing football, what he wants to do, and being able to go get a good quality education at Belhaven. I'm proud for him, proud for his family.
South Pontotoc softball star Maddie Pilcher signs to continue her career with Northeast Community College. Pilcher helped lead the Lady Cougars to its first ever slow pitch softball state championship this past fall. The all-state athlete led South Pontotoc with a .621 batting average.
I've always wanted to play at Northeast ever since I was a little girl, and my mom playing there and everything, and it's just seemed like a big opportunity for me to be able to play there.
A very cool opportunity for Maddie, continuing the family ties at Northeast Community College. Speaking of softball, Mississippi State in action. They just won their first game of a doubleheader against Middle Tennessee State, 8-2. They've got another one coming up against Stephen F. Austin. We'll have highlights from Starkville coming up at 10. Also, Ole Miss on the road to begin its softball season. We'll talk more of the Rebels coming up at 10 as well. We'll have a last secure forecast coming up next.
Some warmer temperatures are on the way. I know it was chilly today, but you know what? It is February. It is winter. It's not supposed to be 81 degrees like yesterday. So we got
81 felt so nice.
Oh, I know. Folks were telling me today, where's that 81? And I said, well, it's still winter. But we will moderate some rain chances again next week.
I'm trying out just in time for the weekend.
Tomorrow should be decent, just still seasonably cool.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a good night.